across the English Channel in France, my mom's war was very different. She and her parents, she was with her parents, Romano and Emily Borutti. My mom was 17 when the war began. And they were ruled now by a very strict occupying German army. And they were, their family car had been taken away to be used by the enemy. Her parents' hotels that they owned and ran in Le Touquet and other buildings were requisitioned by the Germans to house their troops. And Dorothy and her parents were always hungry. There was such short supply of food, and so my mom began her regular cycling trips out to the farms in the countryside. There wasn't much food to be had, but anything was helpful. And she also agreed with her parents that they wouldn't turn in both their radios. They were told, all of them, that they needed to turn in their radios, that it was not allowed, it was punishable by death to have a radio, but they decided that they needed to keep one just to have access to real news, and they kept it hidden most of the time in a bed. And one night in 1942, they were listening to a BBC broadcast, and they heard a message to Dorothy and her family from a high school boyfriend of Dorothy's who was in England. And in her excitement, she told a friend or two. So I'm going to read about that. So, a week later, Bruce began barking at the gate. Dorothy and her parents jumped into action, getting Emily and the radio in bed, a well-practiced routine. Romano answered a loud knock at the door, but was alarmed when the Gestapo policeman asked to speak to Dorothy. Romano called her downstairs. The officer handed an envelope and said she was under arrest. So she was taken away, and when she came back, she was told that she would be going to court the next day in Arras, and she told her parents, I've been charged with listening to the English radio. And she said, I know why too. I bragged to those girls, to Marie's friends, that I received a message from Peter last month. They must have told the Gestapo, my so-called friends, I'm such an idiot. You warned me so often to trust no one, and I've been so good at keeping my mouth shut. I'm so sorry, Mother. And so it was just a few weeks later that she was picked up she actually had to report to the train station, but she was taken by the German gendarme to Loos prison in Lille, that's near the Belgian border. 3 female prison guards immediately ordered Dorothy to strip off her clothes and shower while they watched. She was embarrassed in her nakedness and in exposing her skinny body with protruding ribs. As she dried her eyes, she wasn't certain, but thought she saw a male guard peering through a window watching. She felt sick, violated, angry. Above all, she was afraid. One of the guards handed her a prison uniform to put on, enormous on her slight frame. Then she was marched down the echoing hallway of the prison. Her legs trembled. She glanced inside the small cells they passed by and realized the gendarme was right. The women inside did appear rough and intimidating, and the smell was overwhelming. Were there no lavatories? Then she noticed pails in a corner of each cell, obviously the toilets. She felt herself begin to retch, but managed to calm herself. Cell 15, that's where the guard stopped. For the next 2 months, this tiny room would be Dorothy's home, and by the looks of it, it was already full to overflowing with 6 other women. There were 2 narrow beds on either side with what looked like straw mattresses stacked up to leave room during the day. Obviously, these cells were designed to accommodate only 2 people. But Dorothy was pleasantly surprised when she entered, and one of the 6 women, someone young like her, said in a warm voice, "Bonjour, mademoiselle." The rest looked up and smiled as well. As she entered, she hoped, she prayed, that the appearance and the foul smell were deceiving. And within an hour, she realized it was true. These scary women looking at her might be her saving grace. The 6 other introduced themselves, and she told them her name and where she was from. They teased her about the ridiculous uniform, which could fit an elephant, one of them said. She smiled, they laughed. They apologized for the latrine, explaining how they turned their backs if someone needed privacy. Then they talked about the food, which was terrible. The soup or stew came to the cells in pails, similar to the one used as a toilet. So whenever anyone received a food package from home, they always shared. Always. "We're like family," one of them said, "and now you're one of us."